Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Maryland Risk Management Education Podcast. My name is Paul Geringer, and I'm the Extension Legal Specialist here in the Department of Ag and Resource Economics. And today we're going to look at sort of the final regulations that have come out in the Maryland Industrial Hemp Pilot Research Program. They came out at the end of January, and we've had some time to go through them at the university and kind of figure out what we want to talk about and what kind of some of the research will look like that we're going to partner with farmers with on. And I'll give you some details as to who you should be contacting at the end of this podcast. And that will also be in the show notes if you don't get it written down quick enough as I go through this. So today I want to talk a little bit about this pilot research hemp program. I have talked about what the Farm Bill has on this program or on a different program, which will make it more general. There is legislation, I believe, that was introduced recently before the Maryland General Assembly to create a just general hemp program and allow MDA to go through the process to be able to develop the research, or not the research program, but the hemp production plan. So all growers would be able to do it, but that probably will be at least one growing season away. So at least for this year, you're going to have to deal with a pilot hemp research program. And the universities in the state are going to have to deal with pilot hemp research program. And hopefully by next year, it's a much more open process where if you meet the qualifications of the hemp production plan, and I will have a podcast episode on what the hemp production plan says down the road, and we'll hopefully be able to get somebody from Maryland Department of Ag to come on and talk about that once it's developed as well, and kind of have them run you through it. So what do we need to know about the hemp pilot program in the state? Well, for the most part, most of you know this was a program developed in 2016 when the Maryland General Assembly first passed legislation to develop the program. At that time, when the program was first developed, it was only for universities. And in 2018, the General Assembly expanded the bill or expanded the program to allow farmers to contract with the Maryland Department of Agriculture or universities to be able to grow industrial hemp for research purposes. Production of this hemp under this program must either meet some qualifications for agricultural or academic research. It went into effect in July of 2018, but MDA didn't get the final regulations, as I just mentioned a little bit earlier, until January 28th of this year, 2019. And I'll include the regulations in the show notes for anyone interested in them. I'm not really going to talk about the key terms for the most part. If you've listened to this podcast before when I've talked about this, you know what the key terms are. You know what percentage THC the hemp has to have to be considered industrial hemp. I will probably, if I could put a quiz up on it, I would. Any institution of higher education is pretty much going to be qualified under the act. So it is very open as to who will be able to participate in this. But under the regulations, the university or Maryland Department of Agriculture will be able to contract with an individual grower to grow industrial hemp for academic or agricultural research purposes, as long as they meet the following qualifications. The grower needs to be 18 years old, at least 18. They need to pass a criminal background check with no felony convictions in the past 10 years. And one thing I need to say on this is if you do have a felony conviction in the past 10 years and you're interested in this program, get in touch with your county bar association, the Maryland State Bar Association. Other groups are working with people to get some of these criminal convictions expunged from their record. So in the end, you may qualify for the program, even if you have some sort of criminal background conviction. Just check with those people and they will be able to help you. You will either need to own or lease land. And with lease land, you will need the approval of the owner that the property can be used to grow industrial hemp on. You need to have the site registered with the Maryland Department of Ag before contracting to grow or cultivate industrial hemp. You need to grant MDA permission to enter and inspect the property to ensure compliance with the requirements of the property. I will tell you, you will need to also allow the university the right to come on the property to inspect it and also to come on just to do some of the research stuff they're going to want to do. It can only be grown on land that is zoned for agricultural purposes and is at least 1,000 feet from a school or public recreation area. You're going to need to post a sign on the property that says this is a certified site so the public knows that it is in the pilot hemp research program. And you need to attend some sort of orientation session by either MDA or the university that will explain the requirements of the law to you. We don't know what that's going to look like just yet, but we know it's out there and something you're going to have to do. If you meet all these qualifications, you can apply with MDA and you can apply with a university. I'm not going to talk about what university applications are going to look like, mainly because they're going to be so diverse because a number of universities will be running these programs in the state. So each one of these could be slightly different. Once the university determines you meet their qualifications to grow and you meet MDA's qualifications to grow, then filing with MDA to get this approval to begin getting you into the pilot hemp research program. As a part of this, as I mentioned earlier, you have to own or lease the land where you're going to have to describe the site where the industrial hemp will be grown with an address and a map clearly showing the site with GPS coordinates. You're going to have to include any structures, a diagram with any structures such as buildings, granaries, fences, any improvements, and what each use is on the farm and what's taking place on that deal. You're also probably going to have to pay you will have to pay a $250 fee to MDA, plus any additional fee that the university may charge you. And many of these charges will be just potentially to cover the cost of running the program. These are programs that currently are unfunded in most of the universities. There are not grant research dollars tied up with them yet, mainly because the Farm Bill just passed to allow us the opportunity to get some of these grant research dollars. So you will have to think about potentially having to pay to participate in these programs depending on the university and who is in charge of those research programs, just to do some of the cost recovery, coming to the site, other things that may have to go into running the program. Once the grower is approved by MDA and then the university and participating in research with the university, the grower will need to verify that the plants grown meet the definition of an industrial hemp, which means they need to have less than 3%. I say less than 3%, less than 0.3% on a dry weight basis of THC. In order to qualify to verify this, that they meet those requirements, they will need to be independently lab tested. MDA is going to come up with some testing protocols, so we all know how these things have to be tested. But at this time, we really don't know how they'll have to be tested. This will be one of the things, if you're interested in the program, MDA will let you know what the process is, and the universities will probably work with you to verify this process as well is taking place. Any industrial hemp that exceeds this 0.3% THC on a dry weight basis will have to be destroyed within 7 days under the supervision of the university or the Maryland Department of Agriculture. So many of you have waited for me to say this for a long time. Industrial hemp is legal to produce in the state of Maryland as long as you are producing it in accordance with the pilot hemp research program. If you're not in the pilot hemp research program, I am sorry to tell you, but it is still illegal. The College of Agricultural and Natural Resources, where I work, is currently working to finalize a research program for a limited number of growers to participate in. We have limited number of faculty that are interested in this, limited, time that can go into this. So not all the growers in the state that may be interested in it may be able to participate with the University of Maryland, at least through the College of Ag. Other colleges in the University of Maryland, College Park, may be interested in this and may also be willing to contract with you, but that's up to them, and we don't know what they're going to be looking at this time. Other universities in the state are also working to finalize their research programs. Universities in other states may also look at working with Maryland growers as well as a part of research programs. So please keep in mind, as we're looking at this process, there may not be enough universities in the state to handle the number of growers that may be interested in participating in pilot hemp research. The 2018 Farm Bill, as I mentioned before in another podcast episode, has eliminated the need for hemp to be grown under pilot research programs. It was a 2014 Farm Bill that created this system. The 2018 Farm Bill has taken it into much broader areas. But at this time, the Maryland Department of Agriculture does not have the authority to create the hemp production plan. There's legislation before the General Assembly that would give MDA that authority. Once MDA has that authority, then the pilot hemp research program will probably be turned into just a hemp program for the state. And, this will go away. The need to partner with universities will go away, and growers will be able to follow under the hemp production plan and be able to grow it. But until there is a hemp production plan, we have to wait and participate in the pilot hemp research program. Sorry to tell you this. I will include a link to my podcast episode on the pilot hemp research not the pilot hemp research program, the hemp production plan, and the 2018 Farm Bill provisions in as well. But keep that in mind. Currently, we are working under the pilot hemp research program in the state, and you need to make sure you're qualifying and falling under that. Thank you for listening to this podcast. If you have any questions, please email me at lgoering@umd.edu, or you can tweet me at aglawpaul. Thank you again for listening, and enjoy the rest of your day.